Uh,
Alrighty. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Leave It to the Judges MMA show. I am joined by Xavier and Clark, and today we're going to be doing our UFC 304 recap in London. A whole lot of things to talk about, actually. Pretty eventful card. We're going to talk about the Leon Bilal, we're going to talk about Aspinall, Makayev, Patty. But let's start from the tippy top. Bilal Muhammad is your UFC welterweight champion. Absolutely, it was very impressive performance. He dominated Leon 4 rounds to 1. Very, it sucked to watch as a Leon fan, but I'll give Bilal credit. He had a great game plan. He implemented it well. Hate to be this guy, but Leon looked like shit. He looked like a shell of himself. I'm not trying to downplay the performance, but Leon just looked, I don't know. Leon looked like it was 5 a.m. in the morning and he was just tired. He looked tired out there. He looked bored out there. But Bilal is our new champion. Like I said, pretty dominant performance, 4-1. What are your guys' thoughts on one down last Saturday night?
you can kick us off it, Nick.
Okay. This is what I'll say. Impressive performance. Definitely dominated the fight. Was not very close. Did you guys give Leon that last round
No.
by chance? No.
I mean, I did just because of the cut. Like, damage. If damage is the biggest indicator, that's fine. But like,
Yeah. But
Leon won round 3.
yeah,
yeah, round three was his only very good round. The rest he didn't have much answers for Bilal, I can't lie. I am, as a Bilal hater, pretty shocked. I was shell shocked watching that fight because I thought Leon learned his lessons from the Usman 3 fight, the 2-3, the Colby fight. I saw those improvements and I expected better takedown defense. I didn't expect him to cover up and just allow Bilal to get to the legs easily. I will say Bilal's transitions were very fast, clamping his hands together. Definitely faster than I've seen Bilal ever. But man, it was still slow. He is not that fast. Leon should have timed the takedown defense a lot better, in my opinion. Because I thought Bilal was, for the most part, what I expected. The pressure, a few jabs that weren't even that good.
Yeah.
What I expected out of the man, just to grapple, make it a boring fight. And he did it. Congrats, man. Shout out Chicago. He is from here. That is pretty sweet. But you still losing my boy Shavkat. It's over. It doesn't even matter.
I'm dead,
Thank
man.
you, Bilal. I have you right where I want you. For Shavkat for the taking.
All right, yeah. Like Nick said, man. Like Leon just didn't show up. Like honestly, that's one of my biggest takeaways. From the opening exchange, he covered up and gotten taken down immediately. I was like, oh, we might be in for a long night here if he doesn't get this shit together. I felt like even round three, which was like his most dominant round, just because he held the back for most of it, maybe like 3.5 minutes or so. But he wasn't doing shit off the back. I mean, I get he was trying to go for the subs, but he wasn't punching to get the sub. Bilal was able to just basically grab his wrists and just kind of hold it. None of except for maybe one time, maybe half a time, one of the rear naked chokes looked kind of close, but for the most part, Bilal stayed pretty safe. For all the shit that we usually give Bilal, I will say this is probably his best performance, which is kind of crazy just because this is on paper at least his hardest opponent that he's ever faced, and
Italy.
um, yeah, he kind of whooped Leon's ass to be quite honest with you. I thought even on the feet, even though everything wasn't landing with crazy power, but he was so busy with the hands. He did a lot better in the striking than I anticipated. I thought that Leon was a little too afraid of his striking, or he wasn't landing much, but Leon was definitely quick to just go into shell up mode, which allowed for the takedowns to come pretty easily. Kind of when he got through on his head, I thought that the fight was over. I'm surprised. Shout out to Leon for fighting through and having a
Yeah, that's
little grit.
crazy.
'Cause he threw him on his fucking head, and I've seen fights ended by less. So shout out to Leon, but yeah, I mean Leon's still like 32, so I can't say it's like an age thing. I do think that the fact that I do think the fact that they were like fighting at like 4 or 5 in the morning over there definitely seemed to take a bigger toll on the UK fighters than the American fighters. Because a lot of like it was not a good night outside of the Aspinall dub. UK was taking hella L's that night. And the way that the UFC sets these cards up, they usually give people what is on paper favorable matchups, and like the Americans were having none of that shit. To be honest, they were whooping the fuck out of the UK fighters. But yeah, I mean, I think Leon will be back. I don't think that he took so much. He didn't take a lot of damage necessarily in this fight, but you know, it's Bilal, so what do you expect? But at the end of the day, he did get his ass whooped. I thought it was pretty telling that for the most part, Leon, outside of like a little swelling on his cheek, looked pretty fine at the end of the fight, but Bilal looked fucked up after like winning the fight for 25 minutes. That should say something about Bilal's style. But either way it goes, either way it goes, man, a win is a win. A championship is a championship, and hats off to Bilal. Um, this version of Bilal, I feel like is dangerous for the division. Yeah, I think he would beat Kobe. I think he would beat most people not named Shavkat if he fights like that. Uh, Going forward, like every time. Shout out Khabib and the Daggy boys. They got him a good strat.
That
Clearly
was so
carried him to
fucked
a
up.
club, but like you gotta feel for Leon, man. Losing in his hometown, country on his back, main event, let the fence down. Like he just let the fence down, like
It
quite
just
frankly. Like
and like after I don't know if you guys noticed this, but like no one cares about Leon after this fight. Like there like no one gives a shit. No one talks about like he had a decent title run. I know it was only 2 fights, but like no one talks about any of that.
was
Oh, it
it
was just go ahead.
was it decent, or did he fight the two worst versions of
No,
like
no.
the
Never
past?
used.
Man, I don't
Maybe
know.
Colby, but Usman, hell no.
Okay, Usman, the second fight, it was kind of like a what do you do? I mean, the third fight, it was kind of like a what are you doing, Usman, like strat. And then, I mean, yeah, Kobe just looked completely shit, but like, I don't know, man. That was kind of a shoddy reign. I think that all in all, he had a reign again, and on paper, knocked off some top comp. So
It
you
was
can't,
like the rain mixed with his 13 fight win streak.
yeah, facts.
So yeah, that's
So yeah, I mean, he had a good run, and I think he can bounce back. I think that he's gotta just figure out some shit within himself. It was funny as hell watching, like, I think it was like either the fourth round or the fifth round where his trainer was trying to do that shit again, fire him
I
up.
knew the second he did it, it was not going to work a
I was
second
like,
time.
this
No
is
way in hell.
that shit was a flash in the pan the first time.
With so Edwards' coach claimed he had a back injury and like he wasn't himself most of camp. I don't deny that he did have a back injury, but still, like that doesn't excuse the fact that you got your ass whooped by Bilal Muhammad. That was a very winnable fight, I think. A few more things on Edwards. I could not stand every time he kept going like this, like he thought he was like fucking
Oh, bro, he ate an uppercut or two every single time, like bad
that.
uppercuts. I was
And
like,
like whenever his hands were up like this, Bilal would just dive for his waist because his hands are like he's like throwing kung fu symbols. And just whenever they would like, whenever Leon would get up, he would like try to offensively grapple Bilal instead of separating.
I know, and I thought that was a terrible strat.
Terrible idea.
I
And
thought I thought that the fact that when he had his back, he was not more focused on doing some damage. Because that was round three. If he had done some damage, maybe he could have swung the tides a little bit. But because like you just kind of held onto his back, that didn't really dissuade Bilal at all going forward.
yeah,
Um, and then even in rounds that like Bilal had maybe 3 minutes of control time, and then Leon like flips him against the cage.
that
And
happened like 3 rounds, but it was
yeah,
just too
so
late, and he didn't
it's
do
like
anything.
it's like did Bilal do the most when he had control time? No, maybe not. So maybe if you get off and get some good strikes off, you could win the round. But instead, you decide to hold him against the cage for a minute, wasting the time. Like it just the game plan, everything just kind of seemed like Leon was off, man. And at points, it seems like Leon sometimes tries to like overprove that he is a mixed martial artist and like show his grappling off, but
Yeah.
like sometimes you have to like rely on that when you have to, but for the most part, like I don't want to see you trying to take Bilal Muhammad down. I want to see
No.
you whooping his ass on the feet.
Like what he was doing in the first fight. Like none of that was there for Leon in the first fight. Also, once again, I'm not trying to shit on Bilal, but I fully believe Leon Edwards was overlooking him. Everyone was pretty much. I don't doubt Leon was.
Of course, we're overlooking him.
Yeah, like
No punching power, throws a jab. Like the thing I'm probably most disappointed in Leon about was on the feet itself.
I was
Like
about to get to that.
I
Yeah,
was like, what are we doing here? You were there the first fight. You're clearly the better striker. Move forward on this man. I do not like fighters can't be thinking I'm gonna get taken down. You just gotta like distance control and fight. Yes,
it reminded me.
and Leon does great at distance controls. I was surprised like he couldn't handle someone like Bilal moving forward who has no
That was
power. I'm sorry, the man has no power.
No, he doesn't. It reminded me stylistically differently, but of the Strickland Izzy fight. Izzy just seemed like Leon. They seemed very gun shy for whatever the reason was. And I understand what we saw on Saturday night. Leon Edwards is a better striker than Bilal Muhammad. It didn't show, but that's a fact. He is a better striker. I don't know what happened, but Leon took the L. Whatever. Shavkat is obviously next for Bilal to get the title shot. I don't think anyone's denying that. I mean, does this Bilal performance like? How do you guys think that'll go after Saturday night? Bilal versus Shavkat.
I tell you, I don't think that Shavkat's gonna fight like a bitch, but at the end of the day, I will say I have not seen Shavkat push a heavy pace for like 5 rounds yet. And clearly Bilal, his cardio is his greatest weapon. Um so I would be interested to see how Shavkat looks like if like when they do fight, if it does go to rounds 4 and 5, maybe late stages of 3, I do think that for all the shit we give him, Bilal is the hardest opponent that by a mile that Shavkat's fought. I think that Bilal would probably chop up Neil too. So it's like I don't know. I think that this fight did make me a little less positive that Shavkat will win this fight. And that's credits to Bilal and the job that he did in this performance. I would have liked to see a more game Leon to see like a better barometer of like, what Bilal has on the defense because he never really was on the defensive outside of the round 3 grappling. He was kind of marching for it all fight, which just should not have happened on paper at least. So
Not at all.
I don't know. This is kind of one of those situations like it's like when Tony Ferguson. I mean, it's like when Paddy beat like Tony Ferguson, and like on paper, you did a great thing, but like when you really like look at what we were seeing, it's like okay, like you know what I mean. Like I feel like Leon is a great name on Bilal's resume now, and the title win is like grit on the resume. But if you actually remember the fight, you're gonna remember like oh like this was a lesser version of this fighter. You know what I mean? It was one of those situations. I feel like.
Yeah.
On the Shavkat fight, all we need is this many 2 rounds.
That's
So, because my thing is about that matchup in particular. Bilal is going to try to grapple this man, and that is just a bad idea. All finishes, 10 of them subs. He is just a much bigger threat to finish than Bilal. Like, I mean, it's actually a funny matchup. Like, a man who only goes to decision and a man who's
Yeah.
gone to decision. So it's very interesting. And I will say this, if he gets to 4 and 5, I do think that favors Bilal for sure. But I think Shavkat's just the man. I think he's too good for this man, honestly. And I just feel like even if he gets Shavkat down, I think Shavkat's just gonna flip it around, I think he's just better on the ground. And I think that'll show in the fight. It even might get canceled out and they'll just be on the feet.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening.
I think Shavkat is just much
Yeah.
better on the feet.
No, he definitely is.
He's better,
Yeah.
but he's more active. Like Bilal clearly showed a lot of activity in this fight, and I do think that like at times Shavkat is not the most active, just because he's like a more like power based fighter. Everything he does is like with devastating intent, and I think that like I could see Bilal like winning on the numbers, but like Shavkat winning on like the actual damage done for sure, 100%.
I kind of agree with you, but I think like in the Jeff Neal fight, a fighter that actually will like move forward against Shavkat and try to knock his head off. I do think like Shavkat does open up a lot more. I do agree with you. I think he's very patient at times, but I think like a fighter like Bilal who probably will try to press him.
Yeah.
I think Shavkat's gonna be there to fight.
He will meet fire with fire. I will give him
Yeah.
that. Okay, wait, real quick before we go to the next fight. On the Kamaru Usman pound for pound podcast and shit, he was talking about how he thinks that he matches up really well with Bilal, which on paper I agree a lot. And he
Yeah,
said
he
that
does.
he might have to take out a Shavkat or a JDM. I think for my money, I would go after JDM. Because you don't
Yeah,
want to.
definitely.
You do not want on a Shavkat, but I think that I could easily see Kamaru Usman dispatching JDM and then like beating Bilal. So like that would be kind of lit as well. Like depending on if they don't go the Shavkat route, which I would prefer, but if they don't, like how do you guys see that playing out? Do you think that Kamaru Usman could beat JDM and then beat Bilal, or do you think he's too washed at this point?
I mean, based on the Usman we saw against Hamzat, I think he absolutely could win the welterweight belt back. He just needs a win. I think JDM's a great matchup for him, considering how like I don't know if the poor is the good word. His takedown defense looked against Burns.
Not good.
Yeah, it was poor. It was poor, and he's coming off an injury.
Yeah.
And I think Usman, he's taking some time off. He seems healthy. I think he'll be healthy. I don't know how he does against Rachmanov.
No, I'm just saying if he does the JDM and then the Bilal route.
Yeah, because who else? What else is going on at welterweight? I think Leon needs another win before he gets a title shot.
He's definitely not due for an immediate rematch after that performance.
Yeah, no. So, and then what? There's JDM. Yeah, you would do JDM Usman.
Sean Brady on there, but
Who's he fighting?
oh yeah, he's fighting. He's fighting Burns.
And you guys forgot this weekend we have a pretty big welterweight title implication fight. We got Chiesa versus Ferguson. Like that'll play in factor.
Get the fuck.
No, but I've been hearing about that too. Usman definitely. I want to see him fight more, man. But yeah, he definitely has a path for gold to get the gold again. I like your idea.
Shavkat ranked at number 3. Who was his last win? Why is he 3?
Wonder Boy,
Where was Wonderboy ranked?
like 6 or 7.
Jeez, why is he? I mean, I guess
Well, he was at 5 at that fight, and it's probably because Colby
lost. I guess.
Also, Cole. Like, what's good with Colby, bro? When is he ever gonna fight again?
Yeah, I don't know, man. But I don't know if I really give a fuck either.
Yeah,
After I
unlike
looked at his
Usman,
last one, man, I don't know, man.
Like-
I'm go ahead.
I think Colby's done. Unlike Usman, I think Colby's done.
I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere he's literally like a professional poker player now. Colby.
Oh, he was at the 2024 main event. He actually cashed.
Yeah, I was gonna say apparently he's like really good at poker, so he's probably just making bank there.
I want to see him fucking run the fade with Dustin Poirier for the one.
That'd be
time.
awesome.
I think that Poirier is like here in his career, and I think that Covington's here. I think in the prime, I think that Kobe would probably maul him. But
Yeah,
from what I've seen recently, I think that's a winnable fight for Dustin Poirier. And
especially
like,
coming off the Makhachev fight. Ooh.
watching a beef, like, exactly. All he's been running his takedown defense and shit and getting up when he gets taken down. So I think that that's like a good money fight for Kobe to fight.
Yeah.
At this point.
All right, one more thing before we move on. Give me a name. Who do you guys want to see Leon Edwards fight next? Like I said, I think we all agree he doesn't get a title shot right away. He's got to get a dub, then he'll get one. Who do you guys want to see him fight in the meantime?
Ian Gary.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's a great fight.
Or MVP for funds. Like, I mean, because that fight was, they were trying to, get that UK good striking battle fight going. And unfortunately, MVP got Russell fucked by Gary. But
Yeah.
I feel like now that they're both off a loss, like, why not run it, That's an entertaining fight. That's a winnable fight for Leon. That's a winnable fight for MVP. It could fast track him up if that's what they still want to do. So
If
I don't know.
if Leon goes out there and like beats the shit out of Gary, does he get a title shot?
No.
Mm,
No.
Okay.
I mean, not
Depends.
immediate. I mean, not immediately, just because I think that this loss was one that I think will shuffle him down the line a little bit, at least like two title fights.
Okay.
If that makes
I
sense.
you
I
just brought up a
think
name.
go ahead.
You just brought up a name. I wouldn't mind seeing Edwards versus Poirier. That'd be kind of sick. Because Poirier's just looking for fun fights right now. And Leon, like we just talked about, the welterweight's a fucking ghost town. Like,
And high key, if Diaz could get him, like so can Poirier,
yeah, it's true.
realistically.
All
But
right,
yeah,
Bill.
I just think that he's got to get back to work. Like he's just gotta, he's still like 32. He's got
He'll
time.
be fine. He'll be fine.
Yeah, he'll be fine long term.
All right, let's move on. Probably the biggest thing, at least most people are talking about coming out of this card, Tom Aspinall knocks out Curtis Blades, I think in literally 1 minute flat. Okay, before what are you guys' thoughts on the stoppage? I thought it was a little early, to be
In real
honest.
time, I think that Blades was fine, but from the optics of it, it did not look good. Just because, yeah, he was getting his head dribbled off the canvas, and that's my boy. Curtis Razor Blades, man, you'll come back stronger than ever, bro. But that
Damn
shit
it.
was. I just think that like the way it looked, he did take a lot of unanswered shots to the head.
Yeah, the way it looked was worse than what actually was. I get what you're saying.
Especially from Mark Goddard's position where he can't necessarily see his face. I think the one angle that they show, like from the ground, where you're looking at Curtis's head and you could see his face, you could see that he was pretty much there the whole time.
And he instantly protested also.
Yeah, but I think that, like, I mean, honestly, in a title fight, I think that you gotta give him a bit of a chance more than that.
100%.
Just because it's so hard to get to these title fights. And so when you are there, you kind of gotta, I think that as a general rule, I'm more for like refs letting title fights go on a little bit like extra, because it's like at the when the stakes are the highest, it's like I would rather see a fighter go out or like damn near get close to that than like the ref trying to save them from themselves. You know what I mean? Like, because now it's like, damn, like, does Curtis Blades ever get another title shot? Like, I don't know.
I don't know,
And
dude. It's
like,
just tough.
that's kind of fucked if like, that fight could have went on, and you know what I mean? It's just kind of hard. Same thing with like, to a lesser extent, like the Imavov versus Cannonier shit, where it's like,
Yeah.
will Cannonier ever get another like when you're like, on the back end of your career, or like, and not to say Blades is necessarily, but you know what I mean? Like he's been around for a minute. And you worked your way to a certain position at the top of the rankings, like,
Multiple times in Curtis's case.
yeah, exactly. And in the Cannonier's case,
Yeah,
to be
true.
quite
That's true.
honest, it's
Both
like
vets.
it's hard to like lose a fight when like you feel like you were still there, and the ref just kind of takes that from you, and now like the climb back is kind of almost impossible. Like that's kind of fucked up. So I just feel like on that in that sense, I think that the stoppage was a little early, but I don't like in real time. I wasn't like no, like I was like damn, like you know what I mean. I wasn't thinking like this was so egregious of a stoppage. I was like, okay, from his perspective, like, yeah, Curtis bounced back up, and then in hindsight, it was like, oh, he was still fine. But in the moment, it was like, okay, like, I can't blame Goddard for what he saw. You know what I mean?
What do you think, Clark?
yeah, I agree with that. I think it was just a bad look, flat on his chest just getting pounded into for about a solid 5 seconds or so at least, not moving. I think if he moved a little bit, it would have kept going, but
I think that I don't know if Aspinall had like had his wrist or something, but like that's one of the things that people do when they get a person down like that. They grab their wrist and it makes them kind of hard to get up. So
Yeah.
I think that it was a little bit of that. Um, like just based on how little he was moving his head kind of, but he was still getting punched. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he was not moving because he was out or stunned. It was just because the position was just piss poor for him. You know?
Yeah. So not really much to talk about what happened in the cage. It was just kind of whatever.
But
Yeah,
implications huge.
yeah. Let's just talk. The stakes were, oh my god, the stakes were just insane for this fight. Let's just talk about it. It looks like John and Stipe are gonna fight in November. Let's just assume John Jones wins. Will John Jones stick around for Aspinall? It's no longer the question, is that the fight to make? It's simply, does John Jones want to fight Tom Aspinall?
I
Does that
don't
fight happen?
I don't think he will.
You don't think so?
I think John's gonna, yeah. Because I think, like, I would pick John to win that fight just because it's John.
That's crazy.
I think even he knows right now, this man looks very fast. He has, I think, on average right now, the, like, shortest time of a fighter on average right now.
Yeah. He does.
He's leader to that. So, I mean, I don't think John wants to be fucking around with him at, like, how old is John? 34, 35.
Oh, 30, he's 36, almost 37.
Okay, yeah. So it's like, yeah, I think he'll just be smart here. I think he'll fight Stipe, probably whoop Stipe's ass because he's 40 plus, hasn't fought in like 5 years, about to come in here. But I think John will leave, honestly. I wouldn't be shocked if he fought him, but I think he'll leave.
I think one thing I mean, quite frankly, like I would not be mad if John just got the fuck up out of there.
I know.
Selfishly, as a John Jones fan, you know. But the one thing I will say that I've noticed in all of these fights, that I'm seeing off Aspinall where he's getting these KOs, like John Jones is not gonna be dumb enough to just straight box with him. Like that's one thing that like we have not really seen off any of his opponents. People just not just straight boxing with him. And I think that John Jones, like based on what I was seeing off Curtis Blades, like he even like posted on Facebook afterwards. He was saying about like how he threw the game plan out the way once he like stung him a little bit. He got a little greedy. And that basically is what happened in the Pavlovich fight and all of these fights really that he's getting these KOs. It's like
That's the Curtis special, bro.
people are literally just God damn. But yeah, people are literally just like striking with him, like boxing with him, not even just striking with him, like boxing with him for extended periods. Like, and I think that John Jones, it will be a lot more of a measured, slow paced fight. That like I just don't see John rushing in there like let's box. You know what I mean? John Jones is gonna be on the back, on like getting at that knee, oblique kick, like you know what I mean? Kick from distance. If Aspinall comes in, clinch him up. Like I just think that the fight, I would say even as impressive as Aspinall looked here, this one kind of did like restore a bit of my faith in John to win the fight, just because I was like looking at like the trend of how Aspinall is getting these wins, and like I just don't think that he's doing that to John Jones. Like John fights way too smart. He doesn't just like he's not a boxing based fighter. You know what I mean? All his strikes are like long range jabs, single strike punches. You know what I mean? Like get in, get out. And all these people are just basically like Aspinall is catching them in extended boxing combinations. So I do think that that's like one thing that like people might be surprised about if they actually do fight. Just the fact that John Jones like it wouldn't look like any of these other Aspinall fights so far.
John Jones has the highest fight IQ in UFC history, probably. He knows how to win fight. He knows how to win fights. But I hate to be a Debbie Downer here. If I'm a John Jones fan, I am praying for that Pereira fight over the Aspinall fight. It's a much easier fight. Aspinall just looks untouchable, man. I'll be honest. Like, yeah, all these fights are just kind of stopping in the first round because he's knocking them the fuck out. The dude's disgusting on the ground for a heavyweight. He is extremely fast. And besides the Gon fight, I just have not been impressed with John Jones. His last 4 fights, besides the Gon fight.
That Gom fight. I think
One
Gom.
thing,
I think Gom.
one thing I will say about John Jones though is like he does tend to like fight to the moment, especially like like damn it to his whole career. I feel like if he's like more motivated, you see a better John Jones.
Okay.
Like versus like a Thiago Santos or like even
Anthony
against
Smith.
Anthony Smith, like he's like winning these fights like comfortably, but you don't see him like go for it necessarily all the time. You've seen it in like the Gustafsson 2 fight where like where he feels like he actually has something to prove. I feel like John is a victim of kind of underestimating his opponents, and I feel like his whole career, you don't know how much John really trains for these fights, especially when he thinks he can just get a easy dub. Sometimes I feel like by round 2, he's like, "Oh fuck, like this is a real fight. Like I'm in here, and like let me turn on the Jets and like you know what I mean, whoop some ass, like going in the championship rounds." But I think that at heavyweight, you kind of see like I think that like I don't factor in his last couple light heavyweight fights into like where he is as a fighter necessarily, just because I do think that like there was several times in those fights I'm like, why aren't you wrestling, John? Why aren't you doing John Jones things necessarily? You know,
Yeah.
like against Thiago Santos for sure. Like he was on no legs, like both of his knees were blown out, and John just kept giving him a chance to strike with him. Where I saw a million chances to get that takedown. With 2 blown out knees, there's no way that like Santos was stopping any of those takedowns. And John Jones could have easily got a ground finish, but he just chose to not. So I think that uh, I don't factor in like I don't think John's as bad as his last couple performances prior to the Gone one like shows. One more thing before we move on off this fight, boys. Like, did you guys see in the post fight presser when Tom Aspinall proposed like a little a heavyweight tourney, one night, like 2 fights,
I didn't see that.
him to fight Pereira and then Jones Stipe and then winner fights winner same
I
night.
mean, I love it, but no. The reason I don't love it, keep Alex Pereira the hell away from Tom Aspinall. Keep him the hell away from him. Keep him at light heavyweight. I do not want to see because he's gonna get destroyed by Tom Aspinall.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh, man.
I was
Dude, he's
for
gonna get rugby tackled and choke the fuck out. It's that
Come
simple.
on, Ed.
Way too big, too
Biggest
fast. No.
puncher in the world at
You
heavyweight.
just, dude, Aspinall just put Curtis Blades down with a fucking jab, bro. Like it's no,
But
I don't.
what did he do at the PI, Ed? He
I
destroyed.
don't care. I don't care about the fucking punch
Destroyed it.
machine. I don't care. He's getting
Destroyed it.
fucked in that fight, dude.
all I'm saying is this: the way I see it playing out, I can see like Aspinall eating a couple of them devastating leg kicks. You know what I'm saying? Getting his leg chewed up a little bit in the process, and then like John Jones picking him off the leg kicks. Like I could see that.
See, the reason I'm so confident is a UK reporter literally asked Aspinall what he would do against Pereira. He said he would run across the cage and fucking rugby tackled him. He's not gonna stand and bang with him. He's gonna take him the fuck down. He's ginormous. He's gonna smother. He's gonna beat the shit out of him, bro. It's
Ed,
not gonna be a fun fight.
What if he just runs into the left hook?
It's not happening. He's gonna go. He's not happening. He's too smart.
Look, I think Asphalt can win that fight for sure. It's definitely a winnable fight for, but
I would favor him, but I don't think that it's gonna be as
look in this man.
Bro, it'd be so easy for him. It's not even funny.
I mean, that's if you just wrestle fuck him, but like would he though? I don't know.
I think he would. I think he knows. He knows Alex is too dangerous on the feet. I like that. The reason I don't like that idea is, bro, Pereira fight Ankalaev. Just stay in your weight division for a while, man.
I feel that. He still does have work to do at light heavyweight, but
He does.
I don't know, man. Just for like we've never seen like UFC tourneys like that shit was all before our time of watching the sport. So I mean that would just be very interesting for me. Like honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing that like implemented in other weight divisions as well. To be honest, some tourney style shit like
Like the boring ones, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, like some title eliminator tourney. Like I might be for that, but either way, like that's just like that's obviously not gonna fucking happen. But
Yeah.
that was just an interesting like thought experiment that he brought up. So I just want to address that real quick.
I think
But yeah,
that's
go on to the next fight.
Okay, yeah. Next up, we're gonna be talking about Patty versus Bobby or King Green, excuse me. Patty the Baddie got the dub in round 1. Looked phenomenal. Yeah, probably his best performance ever. Clark, why don't you start us off with what you took away from the fight?
What I took away from the fight is this man has aura now. And he has all of England on his side. Like, I will say he has more of England on his side than Aspinall does, in my opinion. I just think he has that star power. I love the Liverpool accent he has. It's just like it just it's not the same as like someone like Connor, obviously, because they fight very differently. Connor was just knocking people out instantly and calling it out that he would knock them out. And that's what Patty says, but obviously he doesn't do that. But his stardom can't be denied after that performance. The fact you went up against Bobby Green, who knocked out Grant Dawson. I mean, that was a pretty good performance, and
That was his best one, probably.
I think Grant would be somewhat
Random as hell, and we know it. That was random as hell, and we know it. Like it was like one shot. What the fuck? Fuck
At
that.
the PI.
Ruined that parlay. But yeah, go on. I
that was very
had a
random.
flashback, bro. I just had a flashback. But go on.
Yeah, but like the fact he went out there, Bobby Green looked uncomfortable. He couldn't find the range. I will say, Petty is a very big lightweight
They're
compared
strong,
to
yeah.
very strong. I think his striking has improved so much since he's been in the UFC. He looked calm, landed a few kicks, and I think Bobby being uncomfortable um, prompted him to kind of fall into that takedown and go for it. And I think that was the biggest mistake he possibly could have
I
made.
don't know what the hell he was thinking.
Instant guillotine turned into a masterful triangle, and it was just over from there, basically.
And arm bar at the same time. Like what the fuck? Patty was like, "You're gonna tap to one of these bitches," but
He
yeah,
was
I
he
think
was out apparently for like Bobby for like 6 seconds or something, and it wasn't called. I couldn't really tell.
I couldn't tell.
yeah,
But
before he even went in the armbar, he was asleep. So like his arm was just getting fucked over, and he couldn't even tap. So shout out to Patty for like realizing he was out and not just fucking doing him worse, you know. But I will say one thing that like kind of gets lost in like when I'm hearing people like recount the fight is the fact that like it kind of looked more like he got leg kicked and kind of stumbled into the takedown. I think he went for the takedown once he was already like going down. He kind of just tried to make the best of it. But I don't think he just shot the takedown because he was so uncomfortable on the feet necessarily. I think that he kind of was going forward and then Patty kind of, it looked like he kicked his legs out and then he kind of just went for the takedown from there. It kind of seemed like so. Like, I don't think that the narrative necessarily, like, from what I saw at least, should be the fact that, like, Patty was doing so good on the feet that Bobby Green shot the takedown. I just think that it kind of like it was more of like a leg kick scramble situation. From what I saw, but yeah, I mean, I think that Patty did a tremendous job on the feet, better than I thought he would. More poised than I've seen him so far in the UFC. He clearly was not in any rush to get that chin tested by King Green, which smart move because we've seen Bobby has good power in his hands. Um, nice outside striking style, chipped away with the kicks. Uh, I didn't see his chin up in the fucking air, which was like just a beauty to see because like that's his biggest problem I see every time he fucking fights. That chin just in the air. And I thought that if he fought like that, there was a good chance that Bobby might catch his chin at some point in the fight. Obviously, like based on how the fight played out, we didn't get like later in the fight, but I think that in a different universe, if his chin was up, like Bobby could have chinned him for sure. Um, been the first one to put him out. But I mean, I think that my biggest takeaway from this fight is like something that I've known all along, which is that I think that he put the UFC casuals on notice that like his actual bread and butter is his grappling. He is a fiendish grappler. Like not to say Bobby Green like is the best grappler himself, but like he submitted Tony Ferguson. He knows what he's doing on the ground. He's not like he's hella experienced. Like it's not his first rodeo, but like once it hit the ground, Patty made him look easy down there. Just boom, boom, like 1, 2, one submission to the next. I mean, I think that the casual fans are seeing that Patty's actual strength is his ground game, which is something that maybe in the interest of like entertaining the fans, he hasn't too much shown so far against like what he perceived to be like lesser comp. But I do think that going forward, him being ranked, him fighting like ranked guys now, I think we are gonna see a better version of Patty where he does tend to like be more careful and actually like utilize his grappling a lot more, which I think will work to his benefit. Just because I don't think you just want to go out and bang with like a Dan Hooker or like any of these guys in the top 15, like
Yeah.
clearly.
I feel like Patty has his striking is good enough to get him to his bread and butter, which is the grappling. Like he's clearly not out here trying to sleep people. He's using his boxing and kicks to set up the grappling, which this guy's a savant on the ground. I can't even lie.
The Brian
So
Ortega, really, that's got to be his like archetype, like the Brian
yeah,
Ortega, just survive on
mhm.
the feet, do good enough on the feet, evolve your
Super durable.
yeah, be durable, evolve your striking slowly as you go along, but like overall, you know that when it hits the ground, you have the advantage in most matchups. Like,
Yeah. So what are you guys thinking for his next matchup? I'm pretty sure he's ranked now. Would you guys give him someone like 10 through 15? You want to rush him into the top 10? How are you guys building off this dub?
I'm not gonna lie, I think Dos Anjos might be a bad fight for him. I mean, he asked for Moicano, and I honestly think that might be the perfect matchup
But
for him.
he Moicano does have a fight coming up.
I mean,
Against BSD, a main event fight.
What is that?
I think that
I'm not sure when. I think it's in August or September.
Wait, I'll look at it.
I mean outside of that fight, I could see him chinning Dariush.
Yeah, Clark and I were talking about like if you want to rush him into the top 10, Dariush is by far the safest option because that is murderous row in the top 10 for lightweights. I can see him getting fucked up by pretty much all of them except for Dariush.
I agree,
He
but I
can get
think that
honestly.
Which is what's up?
I think he could beat Gamrot personally.
Oh
Like,
hell no, I don't think so.
Gamrot is not him. He is not him.
I
People
would
are
pick
acting
him.
like he's gonna beat Oliveira. Like Gamrot is not this man.
I just feel like he's like the ultimate smush fighter.
All right, let's see him avoid the chokes.
like I feel like Gamrot on his best day, hell nah. But like, what was his last performance, man? Like,
RDA.
He almost got knocked out.
yeah, I was not super impressed with his last performance against RDA, but I mean, the one who beat Armand, like, I think he would obviously have a field day with Patty, but yeah, I think that Moicano is because I don't want to see. I fuck with Patty, so I don't want to see him just rush into the top 10 and then just like merge. I would rather him fight like a Moicano. I feel like that's a winnable fight for him, and
So
then
winner. Oh, sorry, go on.
a Dariush maybe,
I think Dan Hooker is a winnable fight.
and then you gotta go for the
Totally,
Augusto
yeah.
and fight like a Gaethje type.
Ooh, yeah. I think just give him Moicano regardless, win or lose. If he loses to BSD, he's ranked 10. He's not gonna like go below Patty, so might as well.
Exactly.
Oh, BSD, I feel like is a nightmare matchup for Patty.
Maybe, but maybe not, man.
Like
I don't.
without the staff, I don't know, dude.
We just have to see BSD in a 5 rounder here. This is the 5 rounder.
I think the Moicano fight, yeah, it's 5 rounds, so we should
Or
see.
was that Poirier supposed to be 5? Did he just go out there and like?
It was a 5 round fight, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
he was really trying to get that man out of there.
Yeah.
I think he might have known he had the staff and was like, "Fuck, I don't have the gas really."
Bobby Green, just he's a fun fighter. Just throw
Bobby
him
Green,
on some cards.
you gotta be green, man. Like
Bobby King Green, bro. We'll always love watching him fight.
yeah. I feel like he does. He didn't lose anything in this fight, like in terms of stake.
No.
I don't think Bobby can lose stake in my mind. He just is what he is.
Yeah, because like our expectations aren't respectfully that high of him. Respectfully,
And Bobby is older.
yeah,
Respectful.
yeah.
Respectfully.
All right, though. Let's move on to the Arnold Allen Giga fight. I very competitive first round at least. Arnold Allen pretty much won comfortably 2-1, but I thought Giga did not look bad.
He was in
Yeah,
there.
Giga was there. It was a fun fight, but yeah, absolute must win for Arnold Allen. You love to see it at home.
Sure.
Clark, why don't you start us off? Arnold Allen is one of your boys.
He is one of my boys. He's on the bench right now, though, unfortunately. But
Six man.
he's working his way back up. But uh, I think first round he was kind of like circling, like he wasn't cutting off Giga very well. So I think that allowed Giga to strike at range easier, especially with the kicks. Not a lot happened, I would say. I would have gave the round to Giga just because he did a little more.
Yeah, same.
I think once Arnold would cut off the cage well, wasn't really feeling it from Giga, and I think Giga got a little tired towards the end of the third. By that
Yeah.
point, he was pretty bloodied up. Like Arnold just kind of powered through him. But I will say, like, if there's a time to use your grappling, because I know how good of a grappler Arnold is, it would have been this fight against Giga. I don't care that he trained with Dariush. If anything, it should have been more of a beatdown the fact that he trains with Dariush. Everybody probably at half speed with the gloves, like half speed boxing going
Dariush
on.
is the oldest young guy of all time.
That is fuck.
But yeah, I mean, I was impressed by Arnold. I mean, he pushed through.
Fun fight.
No, yeah, not much to say. It was a decent fight for sure.
I
Any
thought
thoughts? There you go.
I thought early on, Giga was doing good with the body kick. I feel like he was eating Arnold Allen up a little bit. Like it wasn't anything crazy damaging, but he definitely had his kicking on point. Arnold Allen was circling more and not cutting off the cage very well. But I think that the pressure of Arnold Allen started to kind of melt Giga a little bit. Round two was Arnold Allen's best round. Whooped Giga's ass round two. And then round three, it was like he didn't whoop his ass, but he in my mind pretty clearly won the round. I feel
Yeah.
like by that point Giga was mostly on the back foot, retreating, and like even when he did land like a jab, it was like a moving back jab, so it was nothing that was gonna like dissuade Arnold Allen from marching him down. Uh, it was an important, it was a impressive performance for Allen just because like he needed it coming off his last two fights. And I think that we saw that like the difference in skill levels, you know what I mean? Like I don't think that the problem in Arnold's last couple fights were him. I think it's just the opponents he was fighting. Max Holloway, Imavov, like some killers. So it's like
All well in him too.
I mean, yeah, he proved that he like deserved to be in those fights, but you know, there was just like a bit too high of a jump in
Yeah.
comp.
A lot of people thought he beat Evilov, which I was surprised by. I thought Evilov won that, but
I did not agree. I did not think that he won that fight.
Yeah.
But he was in the fight, so I mean, it wasn't the craziest thing, but I don't think he won that fight at all, actually.
Yeah, that's why I was so confident in Allen in that pick. Like he did lose to Holloway and Evilov, but like those were very close. They were close fights.
Facts.
Alrighty, let's move on to the last topic of the day, guys. A very bizarre one: Capes
Hold on,
versus.
hold on,
Oh, sorry.
real quick. Can
What?
we just address that Molly McCann might be shit? Okay.
yeah, I even said she
Might
should
be shit, dude.
cut.
She is garbage.
She should be cut.
Clark, straight up.
That was fucked. I don't.
Like Dana White needs to like it. I feel like it's disappointing. She's had these amazing moments of KOs, clearly has skills, but somehow can't win in either division. Like, and she's not losing to good comp. Like,
No.
this is not good comp here.
No.
Like,
Sad.
I mean, shout out Bruno Brazil. She looked amazing, but like, I don't know how much of that was her and how much of that was just.
Just Molly McCann.
I don't know. This was like a prime example of like how the UK fighters like night was going, man. Like it was just not going their way most of the time, bro. And like I honestly was more worried for Patty after seeing Molly McCann lose just because like they are like really close and like I thought that like Molly if Molly got like, especially if she got like a KO or something, like an impressive performance, that might pump Patty up. But like, shout out Patty for like being like, fuck what Molly's on. I'm gonna win my fucking fight.
Yeah, Molly Lucky, she knows Patty, bro. She's
For that reason, she will stay in the UFC. But like, if not for that, bro, send her to the PFL, bro. Goddamn.
so yeah, send her somewhere. All right. Anyways, very bizarre topic: Cape versus
Makayev.
Makayev. Yeah. Um, First of all, let's just talk about the fight. Absolute dog shit, considering how much like trash talk. Oh, the security guards were in there. They both sharded the bed. They're both on dirt for that performance. I hate when shit like that happens. They were going at each other's necks. Like this wasn't just trash talk. This was personal. And they go out there and do that. It's just sad. I hate when that happens.
In the lead up to the fight, I believe Cape like headbutted him one time and like split it. Makayev was saying he like split his eyebrow with a headbutt in the lead up to like one of his like last fights.
Yep.
Which caused him, with Perez, was he said that's why I was going for all those takedowns because I was just trying to. I had like a cut like that was healing, so I didn't want to get punched really, which is fine. He also said that he was told in the lead up to this fight that the UFC doesn't want him to shoot takedowns, that he would not be re-signed if he shot takedowns.
Yeah, he claimed the matchmakers told him like he got to fight more appealing.
I mean, which do I think that like someone might have said that to him? Yeah, like honestly, like
Probably.
no, Dana's like, do we fucking tell fighters like? Dana's like, do we tell fighters how to fight? Like, I believe you might not have said that shit, but someone was like,
You
hey,
told someone to tell him that.
someone got that message, like, telephone, bro, telephone. Someone got that message to him for sure. I know for sure it was said somewhere, like, especially, and I get it, like, but I will say Cape, if not for the toe break, he might have won this fight. I think it was pretty obvious in the aftermath that the UFC was hoping that Cape was gonna win this fight.
Oh yeah.
Especially because they announced like they have no intention of re-signing him. But
Crazy.
I guess what I heard, like the problems that like they were talking about Makayev causing, I think that he was trying to get close to Cape, so he was like, "Hey, come take a picture," and then like slumped it.
Yeah.
So apparently.
What happened was they were at like the same hotel or some shit, and Makayev like texted him, Cape, like, come take a photo to show like the unity of our Muslim brothers and stuff like that, and then dropped him. It was just like
that's crazy.
And he straight up admitted that at the press conference. He's like, I can't let people bully me. You just like admitted to assaulting someone. It's hilarious. For your Muslim brothers.
Hey man, I love it, bro. I love it, man. I will bet on Makayev every time he's in the PFL. But
it sounds like most of the issues are kind of out of the cage.
No, 100%, 100%. But yeah, I just feel like I feel bad just because like you guys know I've been high on Makayev for like a couple years now, and I really thought that like he had a good chance to be the next champ. Just with his style and cardio, I feel like Pantoja, even though he's the better striker, I feel like he always does end up in grappling situations. That's just like that's a big part of his game.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I've seen Pantoja, for stretches out grappled. So, I mean, a 24-year-old, 25-year-old Makayev, I thought for sure could, make some noise in this division. So I just think it's very unfortunate that like we'll never get a chance to see that. At least for now.
Yeah.
You know that like.
Yeah.
We don't know where he is yet.
Yeah, I mean, he could be PFL.
People have left the UFC and come back. Like, if the dollars make sense, like Dana will be a whore for those dollars. Like, let's be honest. The UFC will be some whores for those dollars. So, I mean, I think he can get back, but like, it's just unfortunate to see like him on the cusp of like being one of the youngest champions of all time, and then like them just taking the opportunity away from him for some other shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was gonna say the stuff outside of the octagon. I get also he's a little boring, but like, dude, plenty of fighters in the UFC are grapple heavy, kind of boring.
That's worse than throwing a dolly at a butt.
That's no, absolutely not. Like nothing in the cage is worth cutting him. I can't say on the out of cage stuff. It was probably really bad if it's that bad. Dana seemed very triggered by it. Also,
Yeah.
this is a weird comment. He was like, "Oh, the matchmakers don't want to resign him." What do you mean the matchmaker? Isn't it like whose choice is it to resign these people? I didn't know it was the matchmaker's choice.
Yeah, that is one thing that like was pretty telling. It wasn't because a lot of the times like Dana makes it like a personal like gripe with these fighters, like how he did Paul Daly,
Uh-huh.
like when he was like he will never work here again, or
Yeah.
like you know what I mean, or like him being like making it very much a personal like pissing contest. And if that were the case, I would have less hope for Makayev to maybe come back or this be reconciled. But because he was like the matchmakers don't want to sign him, like he was kind of like
Which is
deflecting it
weird.
off of himself, which he's usually all too happy to be like, I don't fucking like him, so fuck him, you know.
Yeah.
So I
It's
think that was pretty telling. Like that does tell me that like there is a chance that this can be rectified in the future at least.
Yeah. All the out of the cage stuff aside, this is low key a shame. What Makayev's like 23 years old, undefeated, has that Russian background that people like in a division that I hate to say it is always just on dirt, at least to the casual fans. No one cares about the flyweight division. We do because we're hardcores, but like no
I-
casuals care about it.
Do
What's
we
up?
care? Do we
I
care?
think
about
I
the
think we
flyweight?
care. I think we
I
care.
care. I care.
We
Fuck.
care.
I used to care when Demetrius was there and Henry Cejudo, but
See, even then people didn't care. So like, I don't know. It just seems like like I said, the out of cage stuff, I have no idea, but oh, they're cutting a prospect. That's what it comes down to. Dana said it himself. PFL's getting themselves a nice undefeated Russian prospect.
when he said that, I was like, "What?"
That one is like, damn, it's really
I was
that
like,
bad.
"Oh yeah." I mean,
You're bringing PFL into this?
Yeah, when he names our PFL, I was like, God.
Yeah, it's over, but which sucks because like
I'll be honest, he's gonna destroy whoever's
oh
in
yeah,
PFL. I
oh
mean,
for sure.
That's what I'm saying. And PFL is like their Roddy is like their roster is super shoddy, bro. It's
Also,
like
they don't have a flyweight division.
flyweight. Oh, he's gonna.
So
that's the
like,
problem. That's the problem. Literally, I think they only have like featherweight, bro. So it's
I
like
promise you,
They,
Dana did not know that though.
do they not have bantamweight?
I
I don't think they have bantamweight either. I think that he has to fight
That's
featherweight.
He gets like
you have
fucked
to
up by
fight
some
featherweight.
featherweights.
That's
His
crazy.
career's over.
That's
But
kind of.
all right. What's next for Makayev? What organization, UFC, whatever? What is next for Makayev?
I mean, does he can go to one champion?
Or right?
I go to one.
He could go anywhere. He's a free agent. Yeah.
I'd go to Bellator.
I mean, but Bellator is owned by the PFL, so like,
Yeah, right.
what does that like mean? You know,
I get,
Fuck.
are they gonna start those soon or what? I don't know what they're doing. Like having both of them operating separately.
I think one is a good option because they definitely have lighter divisions.
Yeah, one is good.
Hey, go draw Mighty Mouse out of retirement.
Hell yeah. What do you guys want to see from Cape next? Like you said, pretty underwhelming performance, but he did break his toe, I think, in round 2. Still an exciting fighter. What do you guys want to see next for Cape?
I definitely thought that like when I saw the toe break, because I had like a over 1.5 Makayev dub parlay going for that fight. When I saw the toe break, like I was like, please don't just. I thought he was gonna wrestle. Like I thought Makayev was gonna wrestle because like obviously if you grab a single, like he can't hop on that one foot like very well. So I thought the path was pretty easy. I think that because of the toe break, I don't think that Cape loses too much stake in this fight. So I mean, especially now that Makayev is gone, it's kind of like this fight basically didn't happen.
Oh yeah, he is out of the rankings now, by the way.
Who?
Makayev?
Makayev?
He is already out of the rankings, so yeah, pretty official.
I thought that for sure. Cape was knocking on the door of a title shot just because like there's not too many people ranked ahead of him that haven't already gotten their title shot. So I mean, I think one more win against let's see who it is. Like one more win against like a decent comp.
Fight Albazi. What's good with Albazi?
Thanks to this situation, I think they just got Albazi a title shot.
He just.
Hey, give him Kai Kara France and then a title shot. Fuck it.
I think he's fighting Urzik.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Whoever wins that fucking fight, give him Cape.
Ooh, I like that.
And then you know let Albazi fight next, and then winner of that fights Cape versus winner of Urseg Kaigara.
I see a guy who can beat Pantoja though. Tetsutura.
Oh, he's so
I
fun.
think that could be the man to get it done.
See, I feel like Makayev would give him a lot of issues, but he's like,
Yeah,
obviously
actually,
doesn't
that'd be
have
a fun matchup. That would have been so fun.
I guess we'll never know. I guess we'll never know. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I guess we'll never know. All right, though, guys. That concludes our 304 recap. Thank you guys so much for watching and the recent support. It means the absolute world to us. Please check out the TikToks. We got some new stuff on there. We should have some more videos coming out later this week. Thank you for giving us your time of the day. Catch you in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.